Once upon a time, in a quiet village called Umuse, there were twin girls named Amarachi and Adanma. They were 16 years old. They didn't look like the other girls in the village. While others had soft arms and tiny waists, Amarachi and Adanma had muscles. Big, strong muscles like the kind you'd see on men who carried cement blocks all day. Their arms were thick. Their shoulders were wide. Even their legs looked like they could break firewood just by stepping on it. People stared at them like they were strange creatures, not children. Some whispered that they were not really girls, that they were demons born with too much power. But Amarachi and Adanma were just girls. Real girls, with real hearts. They laughed when they were alone. They cried when they were hurt. But most times they stayed silent. The village had taught them that opening their mouths only brought insults. One hot afternoon, they sat under the mango tree in front of their family's mud house. Their skin glistened with sweat. Flies buzzed around their legs. But they didn't move. They just stared into space. Adanma turned and said quietly, "Do you think Mama ever loved us?" Amarachi didn't answer immediately. She clenched her jaw and stared at the red sand. Then she said, "Mama only loves what looks beautiful. We don't look like her, so to her, we are nothing." Just then, the front door burst open. Their mother, Mama Ngozi, came out holding a tray of clothes. "Move from that place," she shouted. "Are you trees? Why do you always sit like statues? You are making my house look like a shrine." The twins stood up slowly. Mama Ngozi looked at them with sharp eyes. "Your bodies are a shame, big like goats. Look at how other girls walk, soft, sweet, graceful. And look at you, standing like men." Amarachi's throat burned. She wanted to talk back. She wanted to scream. But she looked at her sister's eyes, and they both stayed quiet. Their father, Chief Odogwu, was worse. That night at dinner, he sat on his wooden chair, chewing noisily and watching them like a hunter watching prey. He wiped his mouth with the edge of his wrapper and said, "I heard today again that you pushed 3 boys during school fight. How many times will you disgrace me?" "We didn't start it," Adanma said gently. "They threw stones at us. They called us beasts." "Because you are," he roared, slamming his plate on the ground. The beans spilled everywhere. "You are beasts. You are not girls. What did I do wrong to deserve this kind of children? Even the gods must be mocking me." Mama Ngozi folded her arms. "Let us tell the truth. Nobody will marry them. Look at their chests, their backs. Which man wants a wife that looks like a wrestler?" Silence filled the room. The girls sat still, their spoons untouched. Then Amarachi stood up. "Can we be excused?" she asked. Chief Odogwu didn't answer. He just waved his hand as if chasing flies. The girls walked out, their food still sitting cold on their plates. Later that night, under the moonlight, the twins went behind the house to their usual spot. There was an open space behind the cassava farm where they trained. Not because someone told them to, but because it was the only time they felt alive. Adanma lifted a sack of sand they had tied with rope. She lifted it over her head 10 times. Amarachi did push-ups with her feet on a stone. "I want to leave this place," Adanma said as she panted. Amarachi didn't answer. "I'm serious," she said. "Every day here feels like we're dying slowly." Amarachi stood up. "And go where?" Adanma wiped her face. "Anywhere. Even if it's the city. Even if we beg on the street. We can't stay here forever." Before Amarachi could reply, they heard footsteps near the fence. They both dropped what they were holding and crouched. Voices. Their parents were talking in the backyard. "I told you," Mama Ngozi said. "Chief MBA has a mentally disturbed son. He's looking for any girl to marry him. He said he doesn't mind the way they look. He will pay 6 goats. You want me to give my daughters to a madman?" Chief Odogwu asked. "What are they now?" Mama snapped. 2 curses walking around. "If they stay here, people will stop respecting you. Let them go. Let them become someone else's problem." Amarachi felt her blood turn to ice. Adanma was already shaking. They pressed their backs into the grass and waited for the voices to fade. When the yard was quiet, they looked at each other. No words were needed. Their eyes said everything. It was time to go. The next morning, the twins packed what little they had. A wrapper, piece of bread, a plastic bottle of water. That was all. They didn't cry. Crying was a waste. They had cried many times already. Under the moon, in the toilet, behind the school fence. Before dawn, they walked past the goats, past the sleeping compound, past the shrine, and into the bush path that led out of Yumyu's. The sand was cold on their feet. Their stomachs were empty, but their hearts were burning. "Where do we go?" Adanma asked as the sky began to brighten. "We walk," Amarachi said, "until we find a place that doesn't hate us." By noon, they reached the tarred road that led to the nearest town. No one had followed them. No one noticed they were gone. The sun was hot. They had no phone, no map, no plan. But they had each other. They walked until their legs ached. They rested under trees. They shared the small piece of bread slowly. When night came, they slept beside a gutter behind a shop. That was their first night outside Yumyu's. And strangely, it didn't feel like a loss. It felt like freedom. The next day, something happened. They were at the bus park in town, sitting near a wall, when they saw a blind old woman trying to cross the road. She carried a small bag and held a stick. Two young boys rushed to her. At first, it looked like they wanted to help her. But suddenly, one of them grabbed her bag. The other pushed her down and ran. The woman screamed, "My bag! My bag!" People watched. Nobody moved. But Amarachi and Adanma jumped up and chased after the boys. "Give her back her bag!" Adanma shouted. One of the boys laughed and threw a stone at her. Wrong move. Adanma caught up with him and grabbed his shirt. With one spin, she tossed him onto the ground. Amarachi caught the other and locked his arm behind his back. The small crowd gasped. Someone shouted, "These girls dey mad!" But another man shouted, "Record them! Record them!" Phones came out. Adanma returned the bag to the old woman. Amarachi helped her to her feet. "Thank you," the old woman said with a shaky voice. "You are angels." The girls just nodded and walked back to their corner. But the cameras had already done their job. By evening, the video was on Facebook and WhatsApp. Two muscular twin girls beating up robbers. Real-life superheroes, someone called them. In a big city not too far away, a woman named Auntie Bose was sitting in her office when she saw the video. She paused it, replayed it, zoomed in. Then she picked up her phone and said, "Find these girls. I need them." The sun was rising slowly, painting the sky with orange light as Amarachi and Adanma sat at the edge of the bus park. They had been there all night, resting their backs against a low wall, too tired to move and too afraid to sleep too deeply. Their wrapper was dirty, their feet were dusty, but their eyes were wide open, always watching. The video of them beating up the thieves had already spread like wildfire. They didn't know it yet, but their faces had reached far places, on phones, on laptops, and in people's mouths. That same morning, a black car pulled up quietly near the bus park. A short woman with dark sunglasses stepped out. She looked around, her eyes scanning every corner of the park. Her name was Auntie Bose. She was in her late 40s, dressed in black trousers and a gym jacket. Her steps were confident. Her voice was sharp. She didn't waste time. Her driver pointed. "I think those are the girls." Auntie Bose looked closer. The twin girls were sitting on the bare floor, hair messy, arms folded, eyes hard. But there was something strong in the way they sat, like they weren't afraid of anything anymore. Auntie Bose nodded. "Yes, that's them." She walked slowly toward them. When Amarachi noticed her coming, she leaned closer to Adanma. "Someone is coming," she whispered. "Is it police?" Adanma asked. "I don't know." Auntie Bose stood right in front of them. "Which of you is Amarachi?" she asked. The girls stared at her without answering. She continued, "I saw your video. You fight well. But fighting on the street will not take you far. You need training." Adanma squinted. "Who are you?" "My name is Auntie Bose. I own a gym. I train fighters. Real ones. Champions. Girls like you." Amarachi stood up. "We're not fighters. We just protected someone." I know. That's why I want to help you, Auntie Bose said. Why? Adanma asked sharply. You don't even know us. Auntie Bose smiled. I know what pain looks like. I know what it means when two young girls fight like their life depends on it. I've been there. The girls didn't say anything. You have a choice, Auntie Bose said. You can stay here, sleeping under bridges and hoping for scraps. Or you can come with me and learn how to use that strength to build something better. Amarachi looked at her sister. Adanma looked back. They didn't speak, but something passed between them. Okay, Amarachi said. We'll come. The ride to the gym was quiet. The girls sat in the back seat, holding hands, watching the buildings pass by. They didn't trust Auntie Bose yet, but they didn't feel fear either. They had nothing to lose. When they arrived, the gate opened slowly. Behind it was a large building with a red roof, wide space, and sounds of people grunting, punching, and running. A few girls were training already, doing push-ups, throwing punches at punching bags, lifting weights. This is your new home, Auntie Bose said. The twins stepped out of the car and looked around. The air smelled like sweat, soap, and something else, maybe hope. A short woman ran out of the building with towels. These are the new ones? She asked. Yes, Auntie Bose said. Get them cleaned up. Show them their room. Training starts tomorrow. The woman led them to a small room with 2 mattresses on the floor. There was a ceiling fan, a table, and a bucket of water. You can rest here, she said. My name is Titi. I'll bring food. Thank you, Adanma said quietly. After Titi left, Amarachi sat on the floor and leaned against the wall. Do you think we can trust her? She asked. Adanma didn't answer. I don't know, Amarachi continued, but I don't want to sleep on the street again. Adanma looked around. At least it's quiet here. The next morning, at 5 a.m. sharp, a loud whistle blew through the whole compound. Wake up! A voice shouted. Training starts now. The girls jumped from their mats. They were still sore from sleeping on hard floors for days, but they dressed quickly and ran outside. In the main hall, Auntie Bose stood with a wooden cane in her hand. Welcome to training, she said. This is not a place for lazy people. You will sweat. You will fall. You will cry. But if you stay, you will become something no one can break. She turned to one of the punching bags. Show me what you've got. Adanma stepped forward and gave it a hard punch. The bag moved slightly. Auntie Bose shook her head. That's not power. That's fear. Amarachi stepped forward and punched the bag with both fists. It swung back and almost hit the wall. Better, Auntie Bose said. But you're still fighting like someone who wants to prove something. That's not how champions are made. For the next 2 hours, they ran laps, did push-ups, jumped ropes, and threw punches until their hands hurt. By 7 a.m., they were lying on the ground, panting. I can't feel my legs, Adanma said. I think my lungs are on fire, Amarachi replied. Auntie Bose stood over them. This is just day 1. If you want to leave, now is the time. The girls looked at each other and smiled. We're not going anywhere, Amarachi said. Over the next few weeks, the twins trained harder than anyone else. They woke up early. They lifted heavy weights. They learned how to block, strike, move, and control their power. Sometimes they cried at night, holding each other and remembering Yumyus. Sometimes they laughed, usually when Titi told them funny stories during dinner. But most times they were quiet, focused, growing. Auntie Bose watched them closely. She saw how they helped each other, how they pushed beyond the pain, how they never quit. They remind me of myself, she said to Titi one day. But even stronger, Titi replied. One afternoon, a man in a suit came to the gym. He was short and round, with shiny shoes and a loud voice. My name is Mr. Salami. I organize city fights. I hear you have 2 new lions in your cage. Auntie Bose nodded. They're still training. I want to see them. She called Amarachi and Adanma. Mr. Salami looked at them and smiled. They don't look like fighters. They look like warriors. They're not ready, Auntie Bose said firmly. They don't need to win. They just need to show their strength. I'll pay well. Amarachi stepped forward. We'll do it. Auntie Bose turned to her. Are you sure? We want to see what we can do, she said. The fight was held in a small hall behind a bar. People stood around the ring, shouting and waving money. The air smelled like beer and sweat. Amarachi's opponent was a girl twice her size. Adanma's opponent was a fast boy with long arms. The twins stood in the ring, breathing hard, waiting for the bell. Ding! Adanma moved first, dodging the boy's punch and striking his chest. He stumbled back. Amarachi blocked a hit and swept the girl's legs. The crowd gasped. Within 3 minutes, both opponents were on the floor. Silence. Then the room exploded with cheers. Where are they from? They fight like beasts. Mr. Salami laughed and clapped. They're going to be stars. Back at the gym, Auntie Bose gave them towels and a long hug. I'm proud of you, she said. But never let the crowd's noise become your only goal. What matters is who you become when no one is watching. The twins nodded. They had found something they never felt before. Belonging. Weeks turned to months. They fought in bigger matches. Won medals. Got invited to interviews. Their story began to spread. A magazine called them the Iron Sisters. People from far places came to watch them fight. But the twins never forgot where they came from. One evening, after a long match, Adanma sat outside the gym, looking at the stars. Do you ever think about them? She asked. Amarachi didn't need to ask who. Yes, she replied, but not with pain, just with fire. Adanma nodded. Good, because one day we'll go back, not to cry, but to show them what we became. Amarachi looked at her and smiled. Let them wait, she said, and they both sat in silence, the wind brushing their faces, as if whispering, it's only the beginning. Thud, thud, thud. Amarachi's knuckles were wrapped, but her hands still stung. She kept punching anyway. Sweat rolled down her forehead. Her chest rose and fell fast. Her eyes didn't blink. On the other side of the room, Adanma was skipping rope. Her legs moved quickly, barely touching the floor. She didn't look tired, but her shirt was soaked. It had been 3 months since their first fight, since the crowd shouted their names, since Mr. Salami offered to pay triple for another appearance. But Auntie Bose had said no. You're not ready, she told them. That fight was just the beginning. Now we build you from the ground up. So every day started at 4:30 a.m. laps around the compound. Push-ups till their arms shook. Sparring sessions that ended in bruises. And then lessons how to breathe, how to strike without wasting energy, how to move without losing balance. It was more than just fighting. It was a test of patience, pain, and power. One morning, after 2 hours of non-stop drills, Adanma collapsed to the floor. I can't feel my spine, she said, half laughing, half crying. Amarachi dropped beside her. Do you think champions take breaks? Yes, Adanma said, groaning. After they win the belt. Titi walked in with 2 bowls of Gary and groundnut. You both look like tired lions, she said, placing the bowls down. Adanma reached for hers. Then feed the lions before they bite. Titi laughed and sat beside them. You girls have changed. How? Amarachi asked. Titi looked at her. You used to carry sadness on your faces. Now you carry fire. Later that day, they were called to Auntie Bose's office. She was seated behind a wooden desk, her arms folded. I have news, she said. The twins stood straight, waiting. There's a tournament next month. Fighters from Lagos, Abuja, even South Africa are coming. It's not a joke. No cameras. No noise. Just real blood and bruises. Adanma's eyes lit up. You want us to fight? I'm not sending you to win, Auntie Bose replied. I'm sending you to learn what real pain feels like. Amarachi nodded slowly. We're ready. Auntie Bose leaned forward. I want you to understand something. That fight won't be like the street fights. It's not about ego. It's about control. One wrong move, one wild punch, and you're on the floor. We won't fall, Adanma said. You might, Auntie Bose said. And that's okay. But if you fall, make sure you rise stronger. The next few weeks were harder than anything they had experienced. The food portions got smaller. The training got longer. Auntie Bose brought in a new coach, a tall woman with scars on her arms named Coach Rita. She didn't smile, not even once. "Throw that punch again," Coach Rita shouted at Adanma. Adanma tried. She missed the pad. "You call that a hook? That's a mosquito slap." Amarachi laughed from the corner. "You, laugh again and I'll put you on frog jumps until sunset," Rita barked. From that day, no one laughed again. At night, the twins lay on their beds, sore and silent. Amarachi whispered, "Do you still want to go back to Yumyu's one day?" "Yes," Adanma said. "And do what?" Adanma stared at the ceiling. "I don't know, but I want them to see us. I want them to remember the girls they threw away." Amarachi turned her head. "Do you think they ever think about us?" "I think they sleep well," Adanma said coldly. "I think they've forgotten." Finally, the day of the tournament came. They boarded a small bus with Coach Rita, Auntie Bose, and 3 other fighters. The road was bumpy. The sky was gray. It felt like the whole world was holding its breath. The venue was a hidden compound behind an old hotel. The gate was black. The walls were tall. Inside, the floor was dusty and the ring was surrounded by wooden benches. No fancy lights, no noise, just tension. Amarachi sat on a bench, wrapping her hands. She stared at the ring. Her stomach twisted. Adanma sat beside her. "Are you scared?" she asked. "Yes," Amarachi whispered. "Me too." They looked at each other and nodded. The bell rang. Adanma was first. Her opponent was a broad girl from Benin with fast hands and a long reach. From the first second, she came swinging. Adanma blocked, dodged, and countered. But she was slower. The girl hit her cheek, then her ribs, then her mouth. Adanma's lip bled. The room spun, but she didn't fall. She fought back. A hook to the stomach, a jab to the jaw, a knee to the thigh. The crowd clapped once, then again. The round ended. Adanma stumbled back to the corner. Coach Rita poured water on her head. "Don't fight like a scared child," she said. "Fight like someone who has nowhere to go." Adanma nodded. Her heart beat like thunder. Round 2 began. This time, Adanma didn't wait. She rushed forward, dodged a punch, grabbed the girl's shoulder, and slammed her to the ground. The bell rang. Victory. Her knees shook, but she smiled for the first time in days. Now it was Amarachi's turn. Her opponent was tall and quiet, a girl from Ghana with eyes like ice. They faced each other in the ring. "Touch gloves," the referee said. Amarachi didn't blink. Ding! The girl moved fast. Kicks, punches, elbows. Amarachi tried to block, but she took a hit to the stomach. Then another. She gasped. Her hands dropped. Her opponent saw it and went in for a final blow. Amarachi dodged at the last second, spun behind her, and punched her back. The crowd made a sound. Not loud, just surprised. Amarachi took a breath and waited. Round 1 ended. In the corner, Coach Rita said nothing, just stared at her. Round 2 began. The girl came again. This time Amarachi was ready. She didn't move back. She moved forward. Jab, jab, hook. The girl staggered. Uppercut. The girl dropped. The referee counted. 1, 2, 3. She didn't rise. Amarachi stood there, chest rising, blood on her hand. The referee lifted her hand. Winner. Back at the gym, there was no party, no cheers, just ice packs, bandages, and silence. Coach Rita walked past and said, "Not bad." That was her way of saying she was proud. Titi brought jollof rice and plantain. The twins sat alone and ate in silence. Adanma broke it first. "We're getting good." Amarachi nodded. "But we're not done." They finished their food, washed their plates, and went back to the training hall. The punching bag waited. Thud, thud, thud. Weeks passed, then months. More tournaments came, more victories, more bruises. One day, a man in a clean white shirt visited the gym. He introduced himself as Mr. Dlamini, a fight promoter from South Africa. "I saw their last fight online," he said. They have something different, something raw. He offered to take them abroad. Bigger stage, better training, global attention. Auntie Bose didn't answer immediately. She called the twins into her office that night. "You've worked hard," she said, "but I need to ask, why are you doing this?" Adanma said, "Because we want to be strong." Amarachi added, "Because the world tried to crush us, and we want to prove that we can rise." Auntie Bose leaned back. "You've already proven it. But strength without peace is dangerous." They were quiet. "I'll let you go," she said, "but promise me, never forget where you started." The twins nodded. On the day of their flight, the gym stood still. Titi hugged them tightly. Coach Rita gave a short nod. Auntie Bose walked them to the gate. "You came to me with nothing," she said. "Now you're going with power. But always remember, true strength is not loud. It is calm. It is kind." The girls hugged her. Then they walked out the gate. The journey was far from over, but they had just passed through fire, and they were still standing. The moment Amarachi and Adanma stepped off the plane in Johannesburg, the air felt different. It wasn't just colder. It wasn't just cleaner. It felt heavy, like it was full of eyes watching them, waiting to see what they would do next. Mr. Dlamini, the promoter, was already at the airport waiting for them. He wore a dark blue suit and had a smooth voice. "Welcome to South Africa," he said, smiling as they rolled their small bags forward. "I hope you're ready, because everything changes from here." Adanma looked around. "We've been ready since we were born." Mr. Dlamini chuckled. "I like your fire. Come, I'll show you your new home." The gym they were taken to was like nothing they had seen before. It was bigger than a church. The walls were covered with posters of champions. The floors shined like glass. Dozens of people moved around, trainers, fighters, staff. "This is where champions are made," Mr. Dlamini said as he led them through the halls. "But nobody cares where you came from. If you want to be seen, you must earn it again." Adanma and Amarachi looked at each other. They had started from red mud. Now they stood on polished floors. They knew they belonged here. Their new coach was a tall woman with a deep voice named Coach Lydia. She wore black tights, had short curly hair, and didn't like to waste time. "You're not here to show off," she said during the first meeting. "You're here to learn again, from scratch. If your hands drop, I'll break you down. If you cry, cry into your gloves." Amarachi raised her hand. "Do we get breaks?" Lydia stared at her. "Only after you collapse." That was the beginning. Training became harder than anything they had faced in Nigeria. They ran up mountains at 4 a.m. They sparred with male fighters twice their size. They sat in ice baths until their skin turned red. One day, while training with a punching pad, Adanma missed a step and twisted her ankle. She fell hard. Lydia didn't rush to help her. "Get up," she said. "I can't," Adanma groaned, holding her leg. "You can," Lydia said again. "You just don't believe it yet." Amarachi knelt beside her. "Take a breath. Hold my arm." Adanma looked at her sister. "This place will kill us." Amarachi smiled. "Then we'll die strong." With one push, Adanma stood up, biting her lip to fight the pain. Coach Lydia nodded. "That's what I want to see." They stayed in a small room above the gym. It had 2 beds, a fridge, a small TV, and a window that looked out at the street. Every night, after training, they sat by the window and watched the city lights. "Do you think they've heard about us in Yumyus?" Adanma asked one night. Amarachi didn't look away from the window. "They probably think we're dead. They will see soon." "Yes, but not yet." After 2 months of intense training, Mr. Dlamini gave them news. "There's a fight coming. Not just any fight. It's a televised match. Sponsors, cameras, reporters. If you win, the world will start calling your names." Adanma asked, "Who are we fighting?" "2 sisters from Kenya," he said. "They've been training since they were children. They don't talk, they don't smile, but they don't lose either." Amarachi nodded. "Then we'll make them lose." Mr. Dlamini leaned forward. "If you win this, I'll get you a contract. You'll be seen. You'll be paid. You'll be respected. Amarachi folded her arms. We don't want respect. We want our voices back. Adanma added, and we'll take it by force. The fight was held at a stadium with over 5,000 people. Bright lights, loud music, camera flashes everywhere. Their names were called over the speaker. Amarachi and Adanma, the Iron Sisters. The crowd roared. In the changing room, they wrapped their hands. Coach Lydia stood behind them. This isn't about winning, she said. This is about making them feel you. You've been through fire. Let them smell the smoke. The bell rang. Round one. The Kenyan sisters moved like ghosts. Quick, silent, sharp. Adanma took a punch to the jaw. Amarachi got kicked in the side. But they didn't fall. They pushed back. Elbows, jabs, knees. Each hit brought a sound from the crowd. Bam, bam, bam. Blood dripped from Adanma's mouth. Amarachi's shoulder throbbed. But they kept fighting. Round two. They changed tactics. Instead of chasing, they waited. They let the Kenyan girls come close. Then they struck. Amarachi landed a spinning elbow. The girl staggered. Adanma swept her opponent to the ground. The crowd screamed. Round three. Final round. Both teams were tired. Faces swollen. Legs heavy. But the twins didn't slow down. They fought like fire. Together. As one. When the bell rang, the stadium held its breath. The referee stepped forward, raised their hands. Winners. The Iron Sisters. The crowd went wild. Cameras flashed. Reporters ran to them. One shoved a mic in Amarachi's face. How do you feel? The reporter asked. Amarachi, breathing hard, looked straight into the camera. We were once called beasts, she said. Now we are queens. The next day, their names were on every sports page. Iron Sisters shocked the world. From rejection to royalty, brands reached out. A company offered them a sponsorship deal to wear their sportswear. A women's magazine asked them to pose for the cover. They were invited to talk shows, where they sat in front of shiny cameras and answered questions. What made you start fighting? A host asked. Adanma looked straight into the lens. Pain. Pain? The host repeated. Amarachi nodded. Yes, pain gave us strength. But love taught us how to use it. The host leaned in. Do you forgive those who hurt you? The girls looked at each other. Adanma said, We don't carry hate. Amarachi added, But we also don't forget. One day, they walked into a luxury boutique with dark sunglasses and matching tracksuits. Everyone turned. The manager came out, smiling wide. Welcome. What would you like to try on? The girls looked around. Adanma said, We don't want clothes. Amarachi said, We want suits. Like business suits? The manager asked. Yes, Amarachi replied. We're not just fighters now. We're building something. They opened their own brand, Iron Daughters. It started as a line of athletic wear for girls, shorts, tops, boots, made strong for strong bodies. Then they added a podcast where they spoke about rejection, strength, healing, and growth. Girls from all over Africa began messaging them. One message said, They laughed at me for having muscles. Now I train because of you. Another wrote, My mother told me I looked like a man, but now I feel like a queen. They read every message. They cried sometimes, but they also smiled. They had become something bigger than fighters. They had become symbols. One night, while walking out of a studio interview, a journalist followed them to their car. You both have everything now, she said. Fame, money, fans. What's next? Amarachi opened the car door and paused. We go home. The journalist blinked. Home. Adanma nodded. To the village that threw us away. We're going back. Why? The journalist asked. Amarachi said calmly. To remind them who we are. Back at their apartment, the girls sat on the floor going through old photos. Most were from the gym, the ring, events. But tucked inside the bag was one small picture. Their family's old compound in Yumyus. Red sand. Thatched roof. The mango tree. Adanma touched the photo. Do you think they'll even recognize us? They'll feel us first, Amarachi said. They booked flights, they made calls, and 2 weeks later, they were standing in front of 2 black jeeps with Golden Lion emblems on the doors. They wore matching fitted suits, deep red, sharp collars, gold watches. Behind them, a team of assistants packed gifts and documents. In front of them stood the wide gates of the village that once spat on their names. Yumyus, they had returned, not with anger, but with power, and they were just getting started. The sun was bright that morning in Yumyus. The air was still, heavy, and quiet, like something strange was about to happen. Children chased each other around the village square. Goats moved lazily along the dusty path. An old woman sat near her stall, fanning herself with a piece of cardboard. Life in the village was slow as always. Then the rumble of engines broke the silence. 2 shiny black jeeps rolled down the narrow road. They were clean, smooth, and strange. Nothing like the kiki or motorbikes the villagers were used to. The Golden Lion logo on the doors sparkled in the sun. The people stopped and stared. The jeeps came to a halt right in front of the village square. The doors opened. Out stepped 2 tall women in matching deep red suits. Their hair was tied back neatly. Their skin glowed. Their bodies were powerful and strong, bigger and bolder than anything the village had ever seen. Gasps filled the air. People whispered, "Who are they? Are they soldiers? No, wait." One old man squinted. "That looks like, no, it can't be." Then silence. Someone from the back of the crowd said it out loud. Amarachi and Adanma. A wave of shock swept through the crowd. The same girls they had called cursed. The same girls they had thrown away. The same girls they believed were long gone. They had returned, and they looked like queens. Amarachi stood still, scanning the faces in the crowd. Nothing looked familiar, yet everything felt the same. The red sand, the rusted zinc roofs, the nervous eyes. Adanma stepped forward and gave a small nod. "It hasn't changed much," she said. Amarachi replied, "But we have." A group of small children walked closer, eyes wide. One of the little girls pointed at Adanma's arm. "She has muscles like a giant." Adanma smiled gently. "I'm not a giant. I'm just strong." The girl giggled and ran back to her mother. In a nearby compound, Chief Odogwu sat on a stool, drinking palm wine. His beard had more gray in it now. His eyes were tired. He was no longer the proud man he once was. One of the boys from the square ran in. "Chief, Chief, come quickly. 2 women just came in cars. They're rich, and they look like..." The chief stood slowly, wiping his mouth. "Who?" The boy swallowed. "Your daughters." The cup dropped from Chief Odogwu's hand. "Daughters." He stepped out of the compound and walked toward the square. When he arrived, the crowd made way. Slowly, he came face to face with the twins. He froze. His lips moved, but no sound came out. Amarachi raised an eyebrow. "You don't recognize your own blood?" Chief Odogwu opened his mouth. "Amarachi? Adanma?" Adanma gave a tight smile. "We're not ghosts, Papa." The man looked down, ashamed. You came back?" "Yes," Amarachi said, "to take what's ours." At that moment, their mother, Mama Ngozi, pushed through the crowd. She was wearing a wrapper and scarf, her hands covered in flour. She stopped when she saw them. Her mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. "My daughters," she whispered. Adanma's face hardened. "Now we are your daughters?" Mama Ngozi took a step forward. I didn't know. I didn't think you'd ever." Amarachi held up her hand. "Let's not pretend." Tears rolled down Mama Ngozi's cheeks. "You look beautiful. So big. So strong." "You used to say we were cursed," Adanma said sharply. "You used to hide us from visitors. You told people we were not real girls." Chief Odogwu spoke again. "We were wrong. We were afraid. Forgive us." Amarachi stared at him. "You don't get to ask that yet." The village elders called for an emergency meeting. Inside the town hall, the twins sat across from them. One elder cleared his throat. "We welcome you home. Your return has shaken the whole village." Another added, "We have heard of your success. We watched your fights on TV. Adama said, "But you didn't watch when we were sleeping under bridges." Amarachi leaned forward. "You called us monsters. Now you want to call us daughters." The room went quiet. One elder spoke gently. "The village is sorry, but we are old men. We don't know what it means to raise daughters like you. We feared what we didn't understand." Adama stood up. "We didn't come here for your tears." Amarachi joined her. "We came here with power. We came here with ownership." She opened a folder on the table and slid it across. "These are land documents. We bought every piece of land surrounding the village square, including our family's compound." The elders stared at the papers. You bought it?" "Yes," Adama said. "From those who laughed with you. From those who forgot we had a name." The twins stood together. Amarachi said, "We didn't come back to burn this village. We came to change it." Adama added, "But we'll start by taking control of everything you denied us." That evening, the twins returned to their family compound. It was quiet, dusty, empty. They stepped into the same house they had once slept in. Same kitchen, same wall with peeling paint, same smell of firewood. Mama Ngozi stood at the doorway. "You're not staying here, are you?" she asked softly. Adama said, "No, we just wanted to see it." Mama nodded. "You were always too big for this house." Tears filled her eyes again. "I remember the night you ran away. I didn't sleep. I was scared something would eat you in the forest." Amarachi turned to her. "But you were ready to sell us." "I was weak," Mama whispered, "and ashamed." Amarachi's voice was calm but strong. "We needed your strength, but you left us in the dark." Adama walked outside. "We are not angry anymore, but we are not the same." Later that night, they sat under the old mango tree. People passed and greeted them with respect. Some smiled too wide, some bowed too low, others just stared. Adama watched them. "They're trying to act like they never heard us." Amarachi said, "Let them try, but we know the truth." They pulled out a small notebook. Inside were names, people who mocked them, teachers who beat them, neighbors who chased them. They had plans, not for revenge through pain, but through power. The next morning, the town crier walked around with a gong. "Attention! Attention! The Iron Sisters request the presence of all villagers tomorrow morning at the village square." Children repeated the words as they played. Old women shook their heads. "This is not ordinary." Men whispered, "What are they planning?" The day came. The square was packed. Everyone came, men, women, children, even those who once spat at the girls. The twins stood on a raised wooden platform. Behind them was a large screen and two big speakers. Adama stepped forward. "Years ago, you told us we were not good enough." Amarachi added, "You said we were too big, too ugly, too strange." Adama opened a folder and brought out a tablet. "We want to show you something." The screen turned on. A video began to play. Clips of the past. Their mother calling them shameful. Their father yelling that they were beasts. Neighbors laughing, shouting curses. A teacher saying, "These ones will end up as criminals." Gasps filled the square. Faces turned pale. The twins stood still. "We saved everything," Amarachi said, "because we knew one day you would pretend you never said these things." Adama looked across the crowd. "But now you can't lie." Silence. Then Amarachi spoke again. "We have bought lands. We have started businesses. And now we are building something here. Place for strong girls. For rejected ones. For the ones you all forgot." She pointed to a large board behind them. It read, "Iron Daughters Training Compound. Coming soon." Adama said, "This land used to be our pain. Now it will be our power." A woman in the crowd raised her hand. "Can our daughters join?" Amarachi said, "Only if they are ready to sweat. Only if they are ready to fight." Another man shouted, "Forgive us, please." Adama looked at him. "We're not here to punish. We're here to rise. But respect will no longer be begged for. You will earn it." As the meeting ended, the villagers clapped. Slowly at first, then louder. But the twins didn't smile. They walked down from the stage and got back into their jeeps. Inside, Adanma looked at her sister. "Do you feel anything?" Amarachi shook her head. "Not yet." Adanma leaned back. "Maybe we left our feelings on the road," Amarachi whispered. "Or maybe they killed it long ago." And with that, the jeeps drove away from the square. Not with noise, but with silence louder than any applause. The next morning, a strange stillness settled over Yumyus. The market, usually full of chatter and noise, was quiet. People whispered more than they spoke. Some vendors stayed home. Others came out but only sold their goods with shaky hands. The air felt tight, like it was waiting for something to happen. At the center of the village square, wooden boards and iron poles were being set up. Trucks had arrived just after sunrise, loaded with equipment, bricks, and workers in black t-shirts that read, "Iron Daughters Construction Team." Children watched from behind trees. Women peeked through their wrappers. The village men stood in groups, murmuring to each other. Chief Odogwu came out of his house and stared at the trucks. "What is this?" he asked a boy running past. "They've started building their gym, sir. That place for strong girls," the boy said breathlessly and kept running. The chief's mouth tightened. Across the road, a group of elders sat under a mango tree, watching the workers dig, lift, and lay foundation blocks. One of the elders grumbled, "They're building it right at the heart of the village." Another said, "Where our great-grandfathers used to hold sacred meetings. They are changing too much." A third elder sighed, "But we can't stop them. They own the land now." Inside the old family compound, Amarachi and Adanma sat with a lawyer and their assistant. Documents were spread out on the wooden table. "These are the final land agreements," the lawyer said. "With these, no one in this village can remove you from this property. You are legal owners." Adanma signed first, then Amarachi. The assistant took the papers and began arranging them. "You've done it," the lawyer said, standing. "You've taken full control." But Amarachi looked out the window, her eyes fixed on the dusty road. "No," she said, "not yet." Later that day, the twins went to visit their old school. The moment they entered the compound, teachers froze. Pupils dropped their pencils. One boy dropped his orange. The headmistress rushed out. "Ah, Amarachi and Adanma, we are so proud of you. Please, come in, come in." They followed her into her office. The walls were decorated with old faded charts. A calendar with 3 months missing hung sideways. "Would you like malt?" the woman asked, already pulling 2 warm bottles from a drawer. Adanma raised a brow. "You didn't offer us anything when we were still here." The headmistress gave a nervous laugh. "Ah, but back then you were just students. Now you're champions." Amarachi looked around the room. "Where's Mr. Okeke?" The woman's smile faded. "He retired last year. Do you remember how he used to call us bodybuilders in front of the whole class?" Adanma said. "Yes," Amarachi added. "And how he told us we'd end up carrying blocks in construction sites?" The headmistress lowered her eyes. "I'm sorry, we didn't know better." "We did," Amarachi said, standing. "That was the difference." As they walked out, the children followed them with their eyes. One small girl whispered, "They don't even look angry." The other replied, "Maybe they already won." Back at the village square, the construction continued. A large sign was being hung above the entrance gate. "Iron Daughters Training Compound. Strength has a new home." People gathered again. This time, no one whispered. They watched in silence as workers put up large posters along the fence. Photos of the twins in fighting gear, lifting weights, smiling with girls from other countries. A woman turned to her friend and said, "They built this with their sweat." The friend replied, "We chased them out. Now we'll pay to enter their gate." That evening, the twins called for a second gathering in the square. Again, the whole village came out. This time, no one came with pride. Most came with guilt. Many came with hope. The twins stood on the same wooden platform. Adanma held a microphone. "We didn't come back to remind you of your hate," she said. "We came back to test something." Amarachi took over. We came to see if power could belong to those who were once powerless. The crowd was quiet. Then Amarachi pulled out a paper and began reading names. Obina, who told us no man would ever marry us. Ngozi, who said we looked like failed experiments. Teacher Yugo, who called us circus animals during morning assembly. Gasps. Heads turned. Some people tried to walk away. No one is leaving, Adanma said calmly. This village tried to bury us, but you didn't know we were seeds. Amarachi looked over the crowd. We now own the land your fathers walked on. We now employ the sons you tried to raise better than us. She stepped back. Adanma stepped forward. But we're not here to make you suffer. We want to build something bigger. For the girls with strong arms. For the boys who feel weak. For anyone who was told they didn't belong. She turned to the large sign behind her. This center will open in 3 months. It will train, house, and support young girls. But here's the rule. If your family mocked us, you must come forward and write a letter of apology. If not, your daughter will not be admitted. A murmur spread through the crowd. Some protested. That's too harsh. Others cried. Please, forgive us. One old woman knelt down. I was wrong. I was blind. Please, allow my granddaughter to learn from you. The twins didn't smile. Amarachi said, forgiveness is possible, but it won't be free. You'll work for it. Adanma added, because respect that comes cheap never lasts. After the crowd left, Mama Ngozi came to the compound. She didn't come with tears this time. She came with a single envelope. I wrote mine already, she said, placing it on the table. Amarachi didn't look up. Adanma took the envelope and nodded. I know I can never undo what I said, Mama Ngozi whispered. But maybe your work can save other girls. Maybe it can save me too. She walked away slowly. Neither twin called her back. At night, they sat on the balcony of their new guest house, looking at the stars. You think they'll ever stop being afraid of us? Adanma asked. No, Amarachi said. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Adanma took a deep breath. So what now? We build, Amarachi said. We train. We protect, and we make sure no girl here ever feels the way we felt. Adanma nodded. Then we're not done yet. The wind blew gently, carrying the scent of fresh cement and old soil. And far in the distance, the village of Yumuse began to understand something it had never known before. That the daughters they had once called curses had returned not just with muscle, but with a crown. Night had fallen over Yumuse. The compound lights at the Iron Daughters training compound glowed soft yellow. It was quiet, but not empty. Inside, workers continued polishing floors and arranging new equipment. Security men walked slowly around the gates. Everything looked peaceful. But inside Amarachi's room, her thoughts were loud. She sat at her desk, staring at the open notebook in front of her. It was filled with names, plans, budgets. But none of it could silence the strange feeling in her chest. Adanma knocked gently and walked in. You're still awake? Amarachi didn't look up. Couldn't sleep. Adanma sat on the bed. I get it. There's a lot happening. There was a long pause. Then Amarachi said, do you ever feel like we're turning into them? Adanma frowned. Who? The people who hurt us. We're naming names, making them beg, asking for letters of apology. Adanma leaned forward. We're not humiliating them. We're giving them a mirror, letting them see what they did. That's not evil. But are we really building peace? Amarachi asked. Or are we just building fear? Adanma looked away for a moment, then said, maybe fear is the only thing they understand. The next morning, Chief Odagu came to the gate with 2 goats and a basket of kola nuts. He stood there for almost 30 minutes before one of the guards went to fetch the twins. Amarachi and Adanma arrived together. They stood on the other side of the iron gate. He bowed slightly. I brought these for you, as a sign of peace and respect. Adanma crossed her arms. Did you bring your apology letter? The chief cleared his throat. I'm still writing it, Amarachi said. Then take your goats home. He looked shocked. But we're not hungry for meat, Adanma said calmly. We're hungry for truth. Chief Odogwa's hands trembled. I know I failed you. Yes, Amarachi replied. And failing your children is worse than failing strangers. He dropped his head. I will return with the letter. Good, Adanma said. And when you do, come without gifts. We don't want your items. We want your change. Later that afternoon, Amarachi was walking past the mango tree near the village square when she saw something strange. A group of women were whispering under the tree. One of them, Mama Ibube, saw Amarachi and quickly stood up. Good afternoon, she said nervously. Amarachi stopped. What are you all talking about? The women hesitated. One finally spoke. Some people in the village. They think you are turning the girls into fighters, that you're building rebellion. Amarachi stared at her. Rebellion against what? Against tradition, the woman said. Against how things are meant to be. Amarachi didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. If tradition means silence, shame, and suffering, she said, then yes, we are breaking it. She walked away, leaving the women speechless. That evening, the twins gathered their team inside the training hall. The space was big now. Walls freshly painted, banners hung high, new training tools stacked neatly in corners. Adanma clapped her hands. Listen up, everyone. We open in 2 weeks. But before that, we must prepare for our first set of students. Amarachi added, we've already received over 50 applications. Some girls are from other states. A few are even flying in from other countries. The team clapped. Smiles filled the room. But then Amarachi's voice turned serious. We must be ready to protect them, because this village will not change easily. One trainer raised her hand. What do we do if some parents try to pull their girls out? Let them try, Adanma said. But the girls who choose to stay, we will fight for them. Later that night, Adanma sat by the fire pit behind their guest house. Amarachi joined her with a small cup of tea. Do you remember the night we left? Adanma asked. Yes, Amarachi said quietly. Rain, mud, our feet were bleeding. Adanma nodded. I couldn't feel my toes by the time we reached the tar road. They were silent for a while. Then Adanma asked, was all of this worth it? Amarachi looked up at the stars. Yes, she said, but it cost us something. What? Softness. 3 days later, something strange happened. A small group of village men came to the training gate with protest signs. One held a wooden board that read, "This is not our culture." Another shouted, "You are turning girls into men." Amarachi and Adanma walked out calmly. Adanma raised her hand. Let me ask you something. The shouting stopped. Is our culture shame? Is our culture silence? Is our culture beating your daughters for having muscles? The men shifted uncomfortably. Amarachi stepped forward. If our strength threatens you, maybe it's because you never had any. The crowd fell quiet. Then one of the girls from the village stepped forward. She was slim, about 15, with short braids and clear eyes. My name is Uloma, she said. They told me not to come here, that I would become ugly. But I want to be here. She looked at the twins. Please let me stay. Amarachi smiled. You don't need permission to be powerful. She turned to the men. This center will open, and no protest will stop it. The men left quietly. One dropped his sign and walked away. That night, Adanma stood alone by the training hall window. Titi, their old friend from Auntie Bose's gym, had just arrived to help. She stepped up beside her. You look tired, Titi said. Adanma nodded. I feel like we're carrying the whole village on our backs. You are, Titi said. But don't forget, you have strong backs. Adanma laughed a little. I never thought we'd come this far. Titi smiled. Pain is heavy, but it makes you strong. Strong enough to carry others. At dawn, a small envelope was pushed under the compound gate. One of the guards picked it up and rushed it to Amarachi. She opened it. Inside was a letter. It read, To my daughters, Amarachi and Adanma, I was a coward. I feared what I didn't understand. I thought silence would protect me from shame, but it only turned me into a stranger. Today I am no longer a chief. I am just a father begging to be seen. Forgive me, not for my sake but for yours, because anger is a cage, and I want you to fly. Chief Otagu. Amarachi read the letter twice, then again, then handed it to Adanma. Adanma read it and folded it slowly. Well, she said, now we know he's watching. Amarachi nodded. But are we ready to let him in? Adanma didn't answer. The next day, the chief came to the gate. This time, no gifts, no goats, just him. Amarachi met him halfway. You sent the letter, she said. He nodded. Yes. It was the first honest thing you've ever given us. He took a deep breath. Do you hate me? No, Amarachi said. But I don't need you anymore. He nodded slowly. Can I still visit? Maybe, she said. One day. She turned and walked back inside. He stood alone for a while, then turned and left. That evening, the twins sat in their new office. Clean desks, framed photos, and a giant gold logo on the wall behind them. Adanma looked at Amarachi. We've come a long way. Amarachi smiled slightly. And we still have work to do. Then she opened her drawer and pulled out something they hadn't touched in years. A torn notebook, their old dream journal. Inside were scribbles from when they were 16, drawings of what they hoped their gym would look like. Notes about uniforms, about what they would say to girls who felt lost. Adanma laughed as she read one line. We will never shout, only lead. We definitely broke that promise, she said. Amarachi chuckled. Yeah, but maybe leading sometimes needs shouting. They both leaned back. Outside, the wind blew strong. Inside, their hearts were finally still. 3 months later, the grand opening day arrived. Banners flew above the compound gate. The freshly painted walls gleamed in the sun. The giant signboard read in bold gold letters, Iron Daughters Training Compound. Built by rejection, forged by fire. Drums echoed through the village. Dancers moved in colorful wrappers. Village children rushed around, trying to peek through the gate. Every corner of Yumyu's buzzed with something the village had not felt in a long time. Pride. Even the wind seemed to carry it. Adanma stood in front of a large mirror, wearing a sharp, clean uniform, black trousers, fitted jacket, white sneakers. Her arms folded across her chest. Her face was calm. Behind her, Amarachi walked in, dressed the same way. You ready? Adanma asked. Amarachi adjusted her collar. We've been ready since the day they pushed us out. They walked out together. By noon, the training compound was full. Young girls filled the wide hall, sitting on clean mats. Most were between 10 and 18. Some looked shy, others excited. Many had never been outside their village before. From the stage at the front, Amarachi looked at them all. You're probably wondering why you're here, she began. Some of you were told you're too loud, too strong, too strange. Maybe you got tired of being told to hide your fire. She paused. Well, you're in the right place. The room stayed silent. The girls leaned forward. Here, she continued, you will learn to lift, to strike, to run. But more importantly, you will learn to breathe, to speak, to walk into a room without shrinking. Adanma took the mic. You're not here to become men. You're here to become more of yourselves. The girls clapped. Some nodded slowly. A few wiped away quiet tears. Outside the gate, villagers watched from a distance. Many of them had once mocked these same girls. Now they stood back, unsure, silent, watching something they could not stop. The following days were filled with energy. The girls trained in groups. They ran laps in the morning, practiced kicks in the afternoon, and learned balance in the evenings. Some struggled, some cried, but none gave up. One girl, Ogochi, broke down after a difficult drill. She sat behind the building, hiding her face. Adanma found her. Why are you crying? She asked softly. I'm not strong like the others, Ogochi said. My arms shake. My legs feel weak. Adanma knelt in front of her. Do you think we were born champions? Ogochi didn't answer. We were laughed at, beaten, thrown out, but every bruise was a lesson, and every lesson made us harder to break. Ogochi sniffed. So, should I keep going? Adanma nodded. Even if your legs shake, even if your arms fail, you keep going. By the second week, word had spread across the region. TV stations came to film. Newspapers wrote articles. The daughters who built an empire from ashes. From curses to coaches, the story of the Iron Sisters. Girls from cities like Enugu, Ibadan, and even Accra began applying to join the program. Scholarships were created. Support came from women's rights groups and athletes across Africa. But the twins stayed focused. One afternoon, they gathered the trainees under the mango tree, the same one where they used to sit and wonder if they were cursed. This tree saw us cry, Amarachi said. It watched us leave barefoot, and now it watches us return. Not as victims, but as victors. Adanma smiled at the girls. You are the next story, the next fire, and you'll burn brighter than we ever did. One evening, during quiet time, Chief Odagu knocked at the gate. He wore simple clothes, no chieftain beads, no walking stick, just him. The guard let him in. He found Amarachi and Adanma sitting on a bench, watching the sunset. I came to see your work, he said. They didn't respond. I know I still don't deserve to be called your father, he added. But I've been watching, and I'm proud. Adanma looked at him. Pride without protection is empty. I know, he said softly. Amarachi finally spoke. Do you want to help? Yes, he said. She stood. Then go back into the village. Make sure no girl is ever mocked for her strength again. Make sure the boys respect them. Teach the fathers. He nodded. I will. Then he turned and left. That night, Mama Ngozi brought food to the compound. Jollof rice, pepper soup, roasted plantain. She didn't say much, just placed the bowls on the table and looked at them. You girls made fire out of ashes, she said. Amarachi walked over. We're still your daughters. Tears filled Mama Ngozi's eyes. But now, Amarachi added, we are also daughters of every girl who needs strength. On the last day of the month, the compound held a ceremony. All the trainees wore matching uniforms. Parents sat in chairs lined up neatly under a tent. The villagers filled the square. On the platform, Amarachi and Adanma stood side by side. A journalist from Lagos raised her mic. You've built something incredible. What's next? Amarachi took a deep breath. We'll keep building, not just here, across the country, across the continent. Anywhere a girl is told to shrink, there we'll grow. Adanma added, our story started in pain, but we will end it in power. The journalist smiled. If you could say one final thing to the people of Yumyus, what would it be? Amarachi paused. Then she said, thank you. The crowd blinked. For pushing us out. For throwing us away. She continued. Because if you hadn't, we might have stayed small. But pain gave us wings. She turned to the crowd. And now we fly. The girls stood and clapped. The parents stood and clapped. The whole village clapped. Not out of fear, but out of respect. As the ceremony ended, Amarachi and Adanma walked slowly to the edge of the compound. They looked out at the village. Its trees, its rooftops, its red paths. Adanma said, we don't need a crown. Amarachi nodded. No, we already have a throne. She pointed to the large gate. Carved across the iron frame, shining in gold, were the words, the iron-blooded daughters of Yumyus. They had returned not just to be seen, but to be remembered, forever.